Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Fashion Avenue News TV, where only the best will do. I'm your host, Sophia Davis, and tonight we have a mega star guest. Absolutely fabulous. But before we speak to our guests, we have to run over and say hello to our sponsors. We'll be right back in just a moment. OG boy. Know that they ride or die. I keep boys by my side. Know that they ride or die. I keep boys by my side. OG boy. Day we hustle, but the night we OG boy. Know that they ride or die. Ladies and gentlemen, we are back. And our guest tonight is the multi talented, super creative, fabulous international designer, and not just designer, she does a lot of things. She's a publisher. I'm just going to let her tell it all. Samina, welcome to the show. How are you?
Hi, Sophia. Thank you so much for having me. I mean, what a great introduction. I mean, thank you. I really appreciate it.
Well, it is all true because you are multi-talented, you are international, you're in Dubai, you're in London, you're here, you're there, and I just love reading about the places you go and the things that you're doing. So we're going to jump right into our question.
Okay.
Being multi-talented, let's focus first on your fashion design business. I know you do a couture line. Talk a little bit about your line.
So basically, it started out where I design dresses and gowns, and that's primarily, I've working in the industry for so many years with so many brands. I just had to introduce the Samina Mughal collection, and I love bling and all the beading, the embroidery, the embellishments, and the line kind of really took off. It's now selling in boutiques around the country and also around the world. To be honest, I have it selling in Dubai. I have customers like in Europe. So it's really growing and continues to grow. And I just love it. I just love that people are loving what I do.
They are loving it. I think it's absolutely amazing. And I try to follow you on social media and see all of the places you go and the things that you're doing because I just adore, what you're doing and you as a designer. Now, talk about the unconventional silhouettes that you have. You don't just do the regular, stuff. You really have some fabulous things.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, so I was born and raised in England, and growing up in England, I went through the different phases, like the punk phase. I had my hair shaved a little. I did the blue hair and all that kind of stuff. So, growing up, I always wanted to be different. Never wanted to follow, even though I kind of follow the trends, but I have my own unique style, and I always have. And when I was young, I used to sit there and put diamantes on everything pretty much. And then the silhouettes came, at college, at fashion school, I was really, really creative and I loved getting the basic block and just manipulating it, draping it in different ways and just seeing what the fabric would do. And then I think the other thing that goes into play is my Indian culture, because we love dressing up. Indian people love color, vibrancy, and and I think it's just trying to cater to everybody and bringing in a little bit of my roots from everywhere.
That's fabulous.
Yeah.
Because I mean, each season you do amazing collection
Thank you.
with, in New York Fashion Week as well as
Mhm.
around the world. But I see you at New York Fashion Week,
Yes.
and I'd like to know what is the inspiration for the upcoming collection because each season you have a fresh collection.
Right.
I don't see a lot of repeats in your stuff, like a
Right.
lot of the
Absolutely.
same. It never looks the same.
Right.
What's
Right.
the inspiration?
So the inspiration, honestly, a little bit different this season. Obviously, with COVID, things have changed. For example, my bridesmaids, a lot of the weddings were canceled, delayed, or whatever. And now that the brides are coming and they're doing smaller weddings, they want like a more simplified dress. They don't want anything too extravagant. So my collection had to kind of reflect that, not only with the styling, but the price point as well. Bringing the fabrics a little bit cheaper, just something that they can do maybe a temporary wedding or an event now, and then do something glamorous once COVID goes away. So I'm still doing, the big gowns, the high end red carpet, that kind of stuff. But I am trying to cater to an audience that can afford a lower price collection.
Yes, and I think that's very smart because
Yeah,
with this COVID thing, everybody's had to pivot. Whether you're
yeah,
a publisher or a designer, you have had to
absolutely.
look at your brand and
Hmm.
you have had to say, how do I go forward? And it
Right,
was a great talk with Tom Ford on this. And I watched it the other day. And he even said the same thing. He said, people look at us and think that we're a luxury brand and we have all this money, but we
right,
have to also pivot in this,
right.
pandemic because a lot of those high end clients are not buying right now.
Mhm.
They're looking
They're
at
not
their
buying.
future.
Yeah,
So, yeah, you have
right,
to like,
absolutely. And a lot of the retailers have been closed. For example, City Walk in Dubai, where the collection was, I mean, many months it was closed. And then again, there's no event. So people don't want to dress up. They'd rather just be in their sweatpants, a t-shirt or whatever. But I think now there is excitement because the upcoming season of Fashion Week, I mean, I'm almost like sold out New York, and the other cities as well, and people were buying tickets like a year in advance. They're excited, they're coming from all over the world, and I'm getting interest from, like, high-end clients. Like yesterday, I got an email from the Karl Lagerfeld company in the Netherlands. They want to participate in Milan. And then I've got, like in London, we've got like Walgreens, like the corporations, they want to come to our events because they see how, this brand is just, like, we literally want to take over the world, but we're doing it in such a way that, I've elevated the whole branding. We've made it black tie optional, trying to bring in a clientele that will appreciate the high-end clothing, and they have the disposable income to purchase it. So that's the whole strategy behind SM Global Catwalk, is we want to be, the best. So I'm doing my best
excellent.
to do that. Yeah. Hmm.
I think that's fabulous because, you're giving people what they ask for. And I
Right.
think that is, and especially to have the Karl Lagerfelds and other people
Mhm.
notice your brand is really,
Absolutely.
really great. That you
Yeah.
should like really be proud of that.
Oh,
And I know
yeah.
you
Yeah.
are, but I'm just saying this is amazing to
Right.
have that.
Yeah.
And speaking of Fashion Week, is talking about New York right now, New York Fashion Week. What is your approach to producing a show? Do you look at the venue first? Do you look at the designers? And also, do you have other designers participate or you just show your line?
So primarily, I offer the opportunity to all designers, and I do have a couple of designers participating in New York, and I think I have a designer flying in from the US to Milan. So I offer that opportunity because the thing is, I, these designers see the value in the brand, because not only are we showing the day of the show, that audience is there for sure, but it's the huge network that SM Global Catwalk has all over the world. Everything that I share gets shared by so many people in so many countries that, before you know it, I mean, people tell me all the time that as soon as they participated in one of my events, their brand is global. They have friend requests from everywhere in the world, because people literally are watching what we're doing. They're following what we're doing. And that's what I love. And I think that's how the brand has just increasingly, grown, the reputation that it's not just a one-day show. I'm going to promote you forever. Once you're a part of SM Global Catwalk, you'll always be family. So
Excellent. Well,
yeah.
I hope I have a little front row seat there.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I'm
I
definitely
love
looking
it.
forward
I
to you
love
being
it. It
there.
is
Yeah.
so amazing and such a fresh show that I really, really adore going. We're going to run over and say hello to our sponsors. We're going to be right back in just a moment on Fashion Avenue News TV. Back in a moment. Ladies and gentlemen, we are back and we're talking to the multi-talented fashion designer, Samina. And Samina, I must ask, how do you pick your models? Because your show is usually like top of the line. I mean, I've been to a couple of your shows in New York, top of the line, and the models are gorgeous.
Yeah.
Talk about picking models for your show.
So before I used to do castings in every city, and I found that the castings was really only open to the local models, but I have so many models overseas that want to participate. So now I've made my website fully automated. The models apply online, they send their pictures, their video, and I kid you not, we have had probably 500 applications online from models all over the world for every single city. So now I'm going through the process of picking the ones that I feel are the best. And I try to pick, because my collection is for all sizes, right? So I sell to everyone from a size 0 to a size 24. But for runway, my samples are always a size 2 to 4. And the designers that come on board, I always tell them, we keep industry standard sized models to make it consistent. And then we, logistically as well, just to have the same models backstage rather than all different groups of models, different sizes, because then if you need to pick someone, the dress isn't going to fit. And I've tried it in the past, zippers have broken, the lengths are too long or whatever. So generally, my models are a size 2 to 4, and the minimum height is 5'8" tall. But a lot of them are like 5'11" and stuff like that. But yes, models from all over the world are flying into every city that I do, and that's why it's always fresh and new, because we've never seen a lot of these people before. And sometimes I'll do my show in New York, I'll go to London, and then these models will be there. Then I'll go to Paris. They'll fly all over the world to be a part of our events. So
I think that's fabulous, because one of the things that I like that you said, and I think it's important that people understand this point. You said, yes, my garments for all sizes, but when I do my runway show, I do quote a kind of like sample size. And I think that's important because, sometimes models think when they don't see themselves on the runway, their shape or whatever, or their size on the runway, they feel like, oh, that designer doesn't make my size. But I want to clarify,
Right.
or anyone watching, if you are a model, the reason most designers use a sample size is because one, if you have 65 models and a model doesn't show up,
Hmm.
because everyone is basically the same size, anyone can slip into the
Right.
dress. But if you make a dress to
Absolutely.
say
Yeah.
a person that's a size 20 and everybody else is say a size 6, and that 20
Yeah.
doesn't show up, that dress stays on the hang up behind stage and does not go out or have the opportunity to be sold. So
Absolutely.
I want to clarify to designers, models, and people out there that think that when you see couture designers like Samina, that they don't want you in the show. That's not true. They
No,
make the
absolutely not.
size, but if she were to get things in every single size, one,
Right.
it costs more money to make something in a size 20 than it does in a size 4 because you're using more fabric and embellishment. So I think it's important
Absolutely.
that people understand that
Yeah.
designers are not discriminating
Hmm.
or not trying to have them in the show. It's
Right.
just a business.
Hmm.
So you have to do it as cost effectively as you can.
Absolutely.
You
Yeah.
cannot have a garment sitting
Hmm.
backstage that could possibly have sold if it was another size. So I
Right.
think that is important because sometimes, people just think, oh, they don't want me, this and
Yeah.
that, I'm short, da, 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 I'm tall, I'm, full figure, whatever.
Yeah.
And it
It's
has
not that.
nothing to do with it.
Mhm.
Fashion is a business to make money. And
Absolutely.
I tell
Absolutely.
everyone that will listen, designers make clothes to sell. They don't
Right.
make clothes for you to be in their show. They
Right.
make clothes
Absolutely.
to sell.
Yeah.
And that is the bottom line.
I
So
mean,
it's
it's
not
about,
personal and
yeah.
it's not that we don't want, everyone. But as you said, you do all size garments. So
Yeah.
that's one of the things I'm
Absolutely. And
glad you said that.
yeah, so I mean, like, I've worked in the industry for many major brands, everybody from Ralph Lauren, Calvin Klein, Burberry's, and I've been a technical designer for many years for these brands. I do consulting, and basically, this is my job. We do a sample size, and it's my job to make sure that sample size fits the average customer for that particular size, and I've translated that into my brand because when I sell it on my website, my size 2 has to fit those measurements, my size 4 has to fit those measurements. And generally, when I do trade shows, these are the samples I have to show as well. So you're right, it's a business, and we have to think about it from start to finish. How are we going to be able to use the same dress for selling, for showing, and for eventually mass producing, if it sells.
Exactly. I think that's fabulous. So
Yeah.
now, let me ask you this, and I think that this is also something that producers can kind of relate to.
Right.
How important is it that your show start and finish on time?
Oh,
Because
absolutely.
when people come to that show,
Right.
they're ready.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, everything has to be on time. Yes, I understand 5 minutes here and there, but especially in New York, a lot of people are coming to multiple shows on the same night. So they might know that my show starts at 7 o'clock. They're going to come to my show at 7, but at 8 o'clock, they need to be somewhere else. If I'm late, they're going to miss what we need to show them. So, and I've always kind of been a stickler for time because it's the professional thing to do, you know.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. And
Mm.
I think that's important because, I've been to shows, not to knock any show,
Mhm.
but I've been to shows where they say they come out and they have a host that says, oh, a few people are stuck in traffic, a few people on the train, we're going to be
Oh
about
yeah.
20 minutes. And, you have people sitting there. And I
Mhm.
usually leave shows or never go back to shows like
Right.
that because my time is really tight. You're
Valuable.
trying to get to shows, you're trying to report on shows. You don't really
Absolutely.
have time
No.
to kind of sit there and allow them to start when they want to start.
Right.
So I
Absolutely.
appreciate that about your show.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Everybody's time is valuable, and we have to respect that. So
Exactly. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're talking with Samina. We're going to be right back with just a few more questions from her, but we're going to talk to our sponsors. Back in just a moment. and gentlemen, we are back with Samina, absolutely fabulous couturier. Now, Samina, you produce shows all over the world, basically. But
Mhm.
let's talk about New York.
Yeah.
Is that a show for press, buyers, clients, or entertainment? Because a lot of times you see shows that, like I said, they'll come out and say, oh, 15 minutes, or they'll have people doing cartwheels and the
Right.
show has not started. Is
Yeah.
it for the press? Is it to get press? Is it to show the clients what's new? Your show, what is it about?
Yeah. So it's a little, it's definitely to show the client what is new, with my collection. I use the shows as really as a marketing tool because, the photos from the show, the connections and everything, it really helps future sales. But the most sales come at trade shows, to be honest. I don't think at a fashion show, you're going to sell a few garments here and there, but not really. But I want to get into the boutiques. So we invite buyers to come. They don't always come, but that's okay because now we have the images, we have the video, we have material that we can send to them and show them as part of the whole marketing thing. So I think fashion shows are very important for designers because it really helps to show your product on a live person, So
I agree with you. You have to
uh-huh,
show yourself to people, the
right,
press, and even, to be honest, it's almost as if the buyers are almost non existent. That kind of
right,
go between is not even relevant anymore because a lot of people are doing the Instagram and the social media.
right,
And that leads me right
absolutely.
into my next question with you is social media. How important is that to your brand? Because I know that you're all over the world.
Oh yeah, yeah. So social media is so important. And honestly, I cannot personally keep up with it because I have multiple brands and I have multiple pages and honestly I do have a social media team now that especially Instagram, I don't touch it at all. Somebody runs my Instagram. We have 4 brands on there. And and even like pretty soon I think all the other social media has to be slowly given away and like my websites, everything, because it's just too much for me to handle. And I feel that my creativity needs to take precedent here because that's why I started doing what I did. And but you know what? I have so many ideas that I still want to do. And I just want to do it all, but obviously I can't do it all myself. So yeah, we definitely have been using a lot of help in the background. Hmm.
And speaking of not being able to do it all yourself,
Hmm.
how can people volunteer to help? How can people be part of what you're doing?
Hmm.
Because there's so many people that want to learn the fashion business from
Right.
someone like yourself that
Hmm.
is international, that is all over the world, that produces shows in all types of markets, that does trade shows. They want to learn.
Right.
How can people
Absolutely.
volunteer and be part of it?
So if you go to my website, which is smglobalcatwalk.com, there is a section that says join our team. And you just click on that, you fill out the application and we get it and we'll review it and get back to you. So pretty much my whole business, I've tried to automate it. So the website has a link for everything. So if anybody reaches out to me now, I just send them the link, the information's there. And I just think it makes the business so much easier to handle because it's hard to speak to everyone. I mean, honestly, like the amount of communication I'm getting through, the multiple channels and everything. And I try and stay on top of it. But I think that helps. Automation definitely helps.
Excellent. That's wonderful. Now, what
Mhm.
about designers? If designers also want to participate in, say,
Right.
your New York show, the information is also on the website. And is there a
Absolutely.
fee, a participation fee?
There is a participation fee, but we're very reasonable because the whole reason I started SM Global Catwalk was because I was showing with other brands, and there were certain things that I knew that as a designer, I needed certain things done a certain way. So it evolved into, the SM Global Catwalk brand. And I try to keep it affordable so people can come in with like a 10 outfit package. But then if some designers want to show multiple shows, different countries, they want a video, they want, so I've got perks. So as the packages get bigger, you get more for your money. And honestly, it's still a lot more affordable than a lot of other shows. And I want to
Yes,
keep it that
yes.
way too. I want to keep it that way because my motto is I want to give back. I want to help as many people as I possibly can because I know how I struggled to get to where I am. And I wish there was more people out there that, I know that you're one of them, Sophia. I mean, you do a lot for so many people, and we appreciate you for sure.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And Samina, I've always loved your show and the way you did it.
Thank you.
It's always been one of the most shows I look forward to because it's
Thank you.
always been professional in my eyes. And
Yeah.
that's why when we were doing the segments of the best Fashion Week shows, which is this segment here,
Hmm.
this is why I wanted to get you on this segment because
I
I
appreciate
so
it.
admire what you have done with the brand,
Thank you.
how you are all over the world, how you give people the opportunity and things like
Right.
that, because you're really,
Yeah.
a pioneer and an icon to do
Mhm.
that for a lot of people. So,
Yeah.
we appreciate you
Thank
and
you.
what you do.
I
And
appreciate it.
let's just get inspiration for
Right.
designers or anyone that wants to be a designer, a piece of advice, a piece of inspiration, something you can say to them
Hmm.
so that they will continue on their road.
On their journey. Yeah. So, I always tell everyone never give up because honestly, when I was a kid, I used to make clothes for my dolls. That's how I started. And I went to a fashion show, my first fashion show, probably at the age of 12. And then I told my teachers at school I wanted to be a designer. They all laughed at me. They thought it was a joke. And then, family thought that maybe I need to do a different career, but I knew what I wanted to do from a young age and I pursued it. There was a lot of challenges along the way. And then about 25 years ago, I left England, came here, had to start all over again. Um, but you know what? I keep saying this. I don't think I am where I need to be yet. I have a long way to go, and I'm going to keep doing it until my last breath. And
Excellent.
that's just me. So
I love it. I absolutely love that. I love it because I feel the same
yeah.
exact
Hmm.
way. I love that, Samina. You
Thank
have
you.
to do it because this is what keeps you alive.
Absolutely.
This is what you look forward to.
Yeah.
This is what makes you breathe. And
Yes.
if that's it, you've
That's it.
got to keep going. Samina, I just want to thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
taking time out today. We know you just moved. You're not
Yes.
even unpacked, but you
No.
still were kind enough to do this interview with me.
Oh,
And
of
I
course.
promised you I would keep it short, sweet, and
Yeah.
to the point. And I
Right.
hope that I did that for you.
Oh no,
I just want
absolutely.
to thank you. And if anyone wants to get tickets or anything to your show, let's just get the
Mhm.
information once again.
Right. So everything, if you go to my Facebook page, smglobalcatwalk.com, all the events are on there. The ticket links are on there. I will tell you, I'm almost sold out of New York. I think there's very limited seating now. And like you can just go ahead and click on any link on the website, smglobalcatwalk.com. And if you have any additional questions, just inbox me or email me. All the information is online. So
Excellent. All right, I'll close us out, Samina.
thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Sophia Davis. We have had our amazing, multi talented, creative, fabulous designer here with us today. She does more than just design, but that's what we were talking about today. She is international. Samina SM Global Catwalk, absolutely fabulous.
Thank you.
Fashion Avenue News, where only the best will do. And we'll see you next week.